Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce, where we review and discuss your and our favorite comedy films. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world's famous juggler, Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
Ozzy, I'm fantastic. It's been a while. I've seen you since then. Wonderful Southern California trip, and
That's right.
I have ordered 4 new hockey jerseys. This is one of 4, which is kind of like the Raiders record. They've won one of their 4 games.
Put a pin in that. We'll get to that shortly. But for those listening to the audio-only version, not on YouTube, Flesh Wound features on the YouTube channel, by the way, can you describe the jersey that you're wearing for the audio audience?
A wonderful part of the Kevin Smith Geeky Jersey collection. This is for Bluntman. So it's got a giant pot leaf with the shield, and it's even, as it goes up higher, has the tactical belt at the bottom. So, it's one of the fun new jerseys. And then I've even got a Bob Hawks jersey coming, as well as a Power Rangers one and a Zappers for Nintendo. So
excellent. Will you be wearing these on the show, I presume?
Zappers will be here in a few months. That's a custom one, so it'll be a while, which for those of you into the gaming world, it's the Nintendo light gun with Rob the Robot holding it. It's the name on it says Captain N, which was my custom name. And if anyone knows the old cartoon of the Game Masters, it was a fun time. But yes, Power Rangers is already here. Bob Hawks will be here soon, so they will definitely be making their appearances. How are you doing, Ozzy?
Glad to hear. So, no, put pin in that. I'll get to that shortly. Yeah. So you'll be wearing these jerseys. So anybody listening, audio version, be sure to check out the YouTube Flesh Wound features to check out these jerseys for yourself. And of course, Flesh Wound producer Todd, how you doing? Chilling?
I am, and you mentioned our audio only listeners. You gotta check it out. Just see how bad Ozzy's hair is.
I've heard some.
Okay, you know what? You can't bring me down. You know why? Because Ozzy. The Raiders finally won a game. They finally won a game. If you're watching on the YouTube version here, you'll see in the corner there's a jersey back there. It's a Darren Waller jersey. And for the past month, it's been inside out every single time because the Raiders have been losing. But finally, freaking finally, they won a game. And I'm going to be honest, I thought they were going to lose. I'm a realist. I thought they were going to lose. But I'm also in a better mood because in a matchup where it looked like that I was going to have no chance of winning my fantasy football matchup, I see here people didn't perform on my opponent's team, and this trophy here looks like it will come back yet another year, and I understand it's still a few months away, but I don't care because everybody else in my league is a bunch of losers because they won't switch to a PPR format, and that is their own demise because in this format is the only format that I own, and I'll continue to be champion. I'll continue to take their money. That is how I feel today, and you can't bring me down no matter what you say, Todd. So
I have
what?
A question.
What? Yes,
I
what?
have a legitimate question. It's not even trying to bring you down. I'm curious. If you can either have that trophy again or the Raiders go to the Super Bowl, what are you picking?
You know what? I've had this kind of situation, not this specifically, but in a situation where it's like, let me look at 2 things and what would I rather have? If I could only have one, what would I rather have?
And notice I didn't say win the Super Bowl. I said go to the Super Bowl.
Okay. Right. Yes, I understand that. But when it comes to that, is that thankfully we're in a world where neither of those things need to be mutually exclusive, and we will get to a point when I will
Ozzy's gonna
again win this, and the Raiders will win the Super Bowl, and that's when I get my full control over the world. Ha ha!
I really hope the game that stops the Raiders from having plans to go to the playoffs is the 49ers beating the Raiders for Ozzy to have to watch Lost Skeleton 2.
You know, that is coming in January, and not even Lost Skeleton 2 can bring me down, but it is not the stupidity and bad stupidity, I might say, of Lost Skeleton in that universe that we're discussing today. Today, we're discussing the Rob Zombie remake or reboot, if you will. What would be the technical term, Todd?
Reboot
of the Munsters. His was from the mind of Rob Zombie, if you will, right? Now, this has a runtime of 112 minutes. It is rated PG, available on Netflix, DVD, and Blu-ray, released on September 27th of this year. Todd, do you have a trailer available?
Yes, sir.
The back! Action. Sounds great. This is going to shock you.
I knew the moment I laid eyes on you that you were special.
Uh-huh.
Would you like to come over for dinner one night?
Please hold. He's got a date.
It seems Miss Lily is truly in love.
Oh, Hermy.
Hey, numbskull! When they made me, they broke the mold! With you in it, I presume! No! I think it was out by that point!
We gotta get rid of that bozo Herman Munster. He's not the type of person I want my Lily with. Is that what I think it is?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that was perfect.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was, I don't know if it could have been a format of Freudian slip. Those listening on the audio version where Todd pulls these trailers is from YouTube. So we're off on the side here as Todd has this trailer going. And as soon as you're familiar with YouTube, as soon as you're done with the video, you'll get ads for other videos. And as soon as this trailer was done, came an ad for another video that said, "How bad could it be?" And that just caused myself and Greg to just bust out in laughter. And apparently it was too much for Todd to handle. He had to jump out for a second and then jump back on. But that was the trailer for the Munsters. Now, this was reviewed in one of the other Flesh Wound shows. However, just like to point out that for this particular program, we're looking at this strictly as a comedy film, not in terms of if you need to know the source material, if you need to know the show to understand it. We're not talking about that aspect. We're just talking about it as a movie. Was it fun? Not even was it funny, just was it fun?
I have a question though. You know, we
Yes,
didn't really. Were you a fan of the series, or either of you?
So I never aimed to watch it. Like my sister would watch it sometimes if it was on, and like I'd see it, you know, just in passing, but I would never like sit down to watch an episode. So I'm going into this movie just looking at strictly as the comedy. I don't know about you, Greg.
So I mean, obviously it was before my time when this originally came out, but it was one of those things where it's kind of like Lucy, where it was on often, you know, as a kid. And I remember watching it a lot and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Have I seen every episode? I don't think that's the case. But you know, that was before anything like Hulu or anything. So you just caught it when it aired. And I definitely never owned the DVDs, but I always really enjoyed this show. Like I was a huge fan of it when it was on. I was super excited. So yeah, I definitely went into this. I wouldn't say the movie, but at least I was waiting for the trailer with a lot of excitement and anticipation.
Yeah, I definitely fall in. I'm a big fan because I've probably seen every episode at least 5 times, seen all the movies, multiples. I'm a big fan of the Munsters Today late 80s, 90s reboot that everyone hates. So which is basically Married with Children, but the Munsters. So now let's talk about this one.
So here's the thing. I'm not sure if you're familiar with, well, Greg, maybe not. Todd, I'm sure you are. The Boy Who Could Fly.
Yes.
So Fred Gwynn. Am I look?
Yes. Yes.
He played Herman. Yes. Okay. So whenever I would see him in passing, I was always attracted to him specifically because his natural voice sounded like he had a laugh like that. Right. So when I heard Jeff Daniel Phillips do the laugh, hey, that laugh sounds like him, but the rest of his voice was just like, oh, okay. It made me feel like I was watching more like a new rebooted TV version rather than a movie, and kind of.
This is basically, it's a glorified TV reboot. It's from Universal 1440, which is the division that brings you such classics as American Pie, Band Camp, and Bring It On, Cheer or Die, and stuff like that. It's not their top.
Okay, so check this out. Okay, so if there was no streaming service available, this would be a straight to DVD movie.
It's
and that's the level of production quality you get. For the story kind of just serves as kind of a prequel to the series origin story, if you will. And the first hour, I was kind of bored with this before it kind of got to any moments that I really wanted to actually transpire. Greg? Continuing on the initial thoughts.
Yeah. I agree with you on the voice. The voice of Herman was the biggest thing that threw me off on this. Like the way the original actor utilized the voice, it was low in pitch, and then he would go high, and it created a comedic effect with it. And so I was kind of thrown off with it, but I kind of thought, maybe because this is his origin, and like he hasn't gone through monster puberty or something. I don't know.
Remember, he is like what, two days old in this.
right. No, so I don't know, but
just to sorry, go ahead.
No, just that did throw me off a little bit, but I was expecting cheesy after the initial trailer that I saw. I was like, oh god, this is gonna be bad. And I'm not saying this was a good movie, but like I still was, I got what I wanted out of it. Like it was definitely that cheesy stuff I was expecting. Had some really great dad jokes, and putty jokes, so I was having a good time through it. But I do have to say the Herman voice threw me off. But Grandpa, that spot on applause
Daniel
to that
Robot,
actor.
He kills it. It's funny you both mentioned this. This is actually like some of the big complaints of most people. The miscasting of Herman. Mm-hmm. And, well, I know for me personally, I agree with Ozzy. The first half drags. I've warmed up to it in secondary viewings because it does,
Did it drag you, though?
Okay.
Yikes. Oh God. Oh Jesus.
But I think
you got it.
I think if we would have like cut out 20 minutes of cut out 30 minutes of the first half and kind of pad the last half, because when we get to America, I fucking love it. And I gotta believe that. It feels like traditional Munsters to me, and it's on Halloween. It really like works for me when we get to America.
I think that's what people wanted. They wanted more of that and less of what was going on in Transylvania. Now, just to finish off this discussion about the voice that wasn't necessarily that. Now, granted, I did bring up the original, but what bothered me about the voice is not that it was so much that it wasn't like the original. It was more just so it made it feel different, and that he was the actor was putting on a voice to sound one way and then laugh another way. Taking out the original, as I mentioned, just looking at this as its own standalone comedy film. So then, like, why does he sound like that, but he laughs like that? It doesn't sound like he would have a laugh like that. So just it's jarring.
He did the laugh well, but the rest of the voice didn't.
Yeah,
it didn't. Yeah,
and if you want to have that younger voice and not have that laugh, whatever, that's fine. As long as you had a consistent laugh that sounded like it would come within the range of your voice. But it sounded like the level of depth that he got in that voice, his regular voice, in that laugh rather, he would never reach that depth in his regular voice. And it just seemed so weird. Every time it happened, it seemed forced and then it seemed fake and yada, yada. Now, when it comes to the favorite movies, or I'm sorry, favorite moments, Todd, you just mentioned when they all get to America, it's great. And that's where you get the most laughs, but I gotta say, there wasn't really a moment where it generated laughter from me. Like, I maybe got some smiles, like seeing them interact in the Halloween party, but nothing really like, ha, like nothing that made me like actually laugh out loud. Like, I could not utilize the term LOL for this movie if somebody, were to give me any joke from it. It just unfortunately didn't happen. Greg?
I love when a movie sets the tone early, of what type of humor. And I'm sorry, I'm going to mention two of them just because we brought up that I was just like, okay, this is the kind of stupid we're getting into, and I'm all for it. Like, there's a moment where they one of the actors poses with a corpse and he does this cheesy pose of like, ha, and so I was like, okay, this is gonna be cheesy dumb. And then also similarly with the cheesy joke, there's a moment where a disco is revealed and there's this whole dance that happens to it, and then at the end this stupid popper comes up at the end, and I was just like, okay, we're in for really silly, stupid, just sit back, don't think, and have fun time. And so I think I really like when a movie sets its tone like that.
Sorry, just to go back to it, I did find my one line that actually did make me give a brief chuckle, and that is during that Halloween party I mentioned earlier. The Count is giving his drink back to somebody saying, "There's no blood in this. I think it's a joke." That line did make me. Says delivery was excellent on that. Todd?
I think I've said on the other shows, but Daniel Roebuck as Grandpa and Richard Brake as Dr. Wolfgang are the MVPs of this. It's because Elvira popping up, Cassandra Peterson's always a nice thing. I'm never going to complain. It's hard because, like, I'd say, that Once We Get to America is my favorite bit, but it's kind of a cop out. So I'm going to go with one that I do really like, and that is the Creature from the Black Lagoon segment. I love that little bit. Yes. So that's my favorite moment, I think, on this. Favorite segments, the last half hour, but
okay, fair enough. So when it gets to ratings, I kind of want to just even discussing this. Actually, this is fair. I'm giving it a 2 out of 5.
All right,
for me, and this is pure. Again, this is fun factor. This isn't like, I'm not looking at it like from a cinematic point of view, but although it felt less like a movie and more like if there was going to be more episodes, this would be a great pilot because each act had its own plot. You didn't have one plot throughout the entire movie. You had 3 separate plots throughout the movie that had a runtime of 110 minutes. So it felt like 3 episodes jammed together, and it felt like it was a setup for more episodes. Like, oh, next week we'll see episode 4.
That's a great point.
I won't be surprised to see a series out of this, but of course, Rob Zombie would immediately be gone, and I'm pretty sure that means, well, yeah, it also means Sherry Moon would be gone also. One of the other complaints was her performance. Did you guys have any issues with that? You guys didn't bring it up, so I'm actually just asking.
Again, I don't think I covered this. Sherry Moon Zombie playing Lily. I did not have any issues. Okay, again, so I'm not trying to compare it to the show or anything like that. Looking at this movie specifically in that kind of role that was there, I thought she was fine for it. I didn't have any issues. Is there a consensus that?
Well, everyone hates Sherry Moon Zombie already, like in the community, the horror community. So there's already that thing going. And I'll admit, from the trailer, I didn't like the Valley Girl voice she was doing, but watching the movie, it didn't bother me at all.
Oh, what's her face? It reminded me when you say Valley Girl voice, I think of that. What's her face from Joystick?
Oh yeah, you know, like it's funny because like with her performance, if there's so many thoughts I had when I watched the trailer, and I was just like, this is a train wreck. You know, like I am not like I'm so nervous about this movie at this point. But watching it play out, I felt it was a lot better for the movie, and I felt it was almost like it was satire of like this cheesy type of writing, you know. So I thought it was like just taking that already cheesy kind of over the top type of acting that was popular during that time and just like taking it up a little extra notch. So I was okay with it. Like I thought it was fun and stupid, you know. So yeah, she was fine for me.
And for your rating?
Oh yeah. So again, I think part of this has to go into being so nervous after the trailer. I was setting the bar real low, and but I was impressed. I had fun. The Herman thing, I kind of got over pretty quickly. I was just like, accept it. It's all right, you know. But it had bad jokes that to me are great half the time. It brought back the member berries of a great TV series. I think because it ended well, it really kind of keeps a good fondness to it. So I'm at least gonna give it a 3.5. You know, I had fun. I will watch this again. But because I have such a love for the show, but because I had fun.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, but you said it. You had such a love for the show.
And so like,
that's important. That's important to point out because as someone who had no connection, no whatever to the show, 2 out of 5, I'm never going to see this again. I couldn't wait for it to be over. Yet you, somebody who did have a connection with the show, I'm giving it a 3.5. I'm going to see this again. So I just want to emphasize that to anybody listening.
But I got to throw out the overall census, minus a few of us, is the people who love the show hate this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can see why. And I have to say, like, half of it is because this to me is in that same genre of film as like Lost Skeleton, where it's not good, but it's funny. Like it's fun. It's just something you turn your brain off and you just sit back and enjoy, you know. And that's a movie that sometimes like we think too much, we worry too much in life. So to have a movie like this that just allows you to go, just laugh at the stupidity, you know, I'm down for it.
Yeah, I think I think my initial rating was a 2.5 because I was in the middle because I really loved that second half. The first half, I mean, needs to be cut down a little for me. But on my second viewing, I did enjoy it a little more. I'm up to a 3 now. I think I'll probably level out there to 3. I think it's really good Halloween fodder. It's good, like Pugs was saying, throw it on in the background. It's got, you know, fun stuff in it. It's on Netflix. Check it out and decide for yourself. It's not one, you know, you gotta
really need to spend any money on.
I'm gonna say like this is like Ernest quality. So, you know, the Ernest films were never like really good, but you know, they're fun.
Spoiler, we got Ernest Scared Stupid in our /Tober tournament.
That's right. Excellent.
All right. Well, Ozzy.
So just to recap, I'm at a 2, Greg's at a 3.5, and Todd, you're at a 3 right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is varied. Check it out for yourself. Again, with a runtime of 110 minutes, so a little on the long side, because we do like our comedies perfect at that sweet spot at that 90-minute mark, unless you got like a hybrid action comedy going on, and this was definitely not one of those. But again, check it out on Netflix, available there. And of course, if you are so inclined, it is available on DVD and Blu-ray, of course. Any other final thoughts on this film before we say goodbye to it? And hopefully, for me at least, never have to talk about it again.
I wouldn't say on this film, but I believe we heard some great news about another DVD that we have reviewed before, and 75 whole extra minutes.
When I first heard about this, now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not aware, Greg is referring to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles coming up with a DVD release. When is that date, Todd?
November, first 2 weeks in November. Off the top of my head, I want to say it's the 8th.
Now, it is a Thanksgiving movie, so it is going to be released a couple weeks before Thanksgiving. This does include 75 minutes of never before seen footage between deleted scenes and outtakes. So that is something that might be in the pipeline that we might have an episode about, because 75 minutes is almost its own movie.
Yeah.
I just have this great thought that it's just 75 minutes of them sleeping in different areas. It's not even good 75 minutes.
Well, there has been little clips and stuff out there. There's stuff in the trailer. There's a really good YouTube video about it. And they were actually I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but they were pushing the hashtag, to release the deleted footage about a year ago. So,
wow.
Well, here we go.
And no one thought we'd get it. Super excited for it. I thought Ozzy was going to talk about the 4K release of one of his favorites coming up. That, of course, would be Mystery Men.
Damn it, Todd! Damn it! I swear, I don't know why. I don't know why I thought this would actually be, but when you said, I thought Ozzy was going to talk about the 4K of one of his favorites, and I thought, well, is there going to be a 4K of Inner Space? No. Mystery Men. Like a dick. Stupid Todd.
So we'll have some Joe Dante this month.
I hated Mystery Men. We all hated Mystery Men.
Well, it's not a spoiler. Yeah. We already.
Anybody that says they like it hasn't seen it recently. I'm going to stand by that opinion.
They'll see it on 4K and realize how much they waste.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen,
if you love Mystery Man in the chat.
Yeah, no, if you can go back to that Mystery Men review and leave the comments on that video about what you felt about Mystery Men. You could leave a comment here on the YouTube page, Flesh Wound Features, what you thought of this film here. Did you think we were right? Did you think we were wrong? Do you think we were crazy? Go ahead and let us know. But we'll be back next week with a new episode. Regardless, we're going to be reviewing Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Going to have a lot of fun with that one. Looking forward to that. I do have a couple of fun stories relating to my childhood that have to do with that movie. So I'll be looking forward to share those stories. And looking forward to talk about the movie.
All right.
Anything you guys have before we head out for the week?
If you guys aren't Munstered out yet, we still have our Munsters franchise show where we rate all the movies and put them in order. Favorite Hermans, favorite Lilies, all that good stuff. And you can go check out all of our watch-alongs for all the previous Munsters film and the series and some of the episodes. So,
and don't forget, of course, to check out the Patreon page, patriot.com/Flesh Wound Features, where for $1, you can participate in the monthly vote for what episode, or rather what film we'll be reviewing on this month, Halloween. 31st, Monday the 31st, we'll have a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce releasing. It won't be a live episode, but it will be a brand new episode that will be determined based on the Patreon vote. So if you want to vote, go to patreon.com/fleshwoundfeatures, sign up, become a member for only $1 a month, and then you could submit your vote. Do we have the options available by chance, Todd, or are you just saving?
I'll have them ready for next week.
Okay.
And it's that's what a deal, because there's other places that are like, for $1 a day you can feed a starving child, but for $1 a month you could piss off Ozzy. Like, come on now.
These are all films intended to piss me off. I come to that conclusion. It's fine.
Well, we already have some submissions too, so some fans, and there's a couple on there I don't want to watch, so so.
Wow, hear me go crazy, ladies and gentlemen. But still, join us next week for a new episode, which will be Beetlejuice. So if you guys don't have anything else, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. I'm Ozzy V. That's world famous juggler Greg Larson and Flesh Wound producer Todd. We'll see you next week right here on Flesh Wound Farce.